I have Falcons related trauma. Okay, I love my team, but they have given me trauma over the past 6-7 years.
They have. Hello and welcome back to the Think RBA podcast. I am your host, Kidda, aka Mr. Hak. I got my brother, my compadre, my amigo, my companion, all that. Chico, hey yo, sir.
Hey yo. I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Hak now.
Mr.
It's Mr. Okadan.
Mr.
It's Mr. OK.
That's right. Mr.
AKA
OK, that's
Mr.
right.
OK, aka Mr. Hak. I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Hak. Let's show some respect to my elders.
Wow, this guy. Is the white beard kicking in? Is that what it is? The effect?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, you got a little salt and pepper going on too.
I mean, it's, you know.
That's wisdom.
Life,
that's what I call it. Wisdom.
That's right. That's
wisdom.
right. That's right.
All right, sir, we're back for another exciting week of football. Week 2, right? Week 1 is that what's going to happen. Week 2 is why is this not happening? Like what happened? Like what happened? It's all week 2 is. So before we get into that, we just recently talked about the retirement of a certain prominent figure in basketball, right? Adrian Woj, the Woj bomb and all that retiring. But I want to shift away from that and talk about another conversation that's happening about retirement for a completely different reason and a very unfortunate, I would say, reason. And this is Mr. Tua. And with his recent concussion he just suffered in week 2, there's conversations which are bubbling in the NFL world and against fans and against media. Is it time for him to hang it up and just not play with his life, I guess, at this point? I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that. What do you think? And then kind of where you see that going.
So my first thought is that Tua's a grown man, and he gonna make whatever decisions that he wants to make. However, he makes that with his family and his doctors and all the medical specialists that he gets to consult with. He grown. He can make whatever decision he wants. If that were my son, we would be having some real deep conversations about whether or not continuing is worth the potential long-term outcomes, because it's not like, something that's happened once or even twice. I mean, he's had several, and they weren't even minor concussions, right? Like a lot of players get evaluated, they're held out for minor concussions, but we're talking about, we've seen Tua on the field and that like involuntary hand response, right? Where the hand pops up and it's like, I mean, like that's scary to watch.
Yes.
Right. That is a major, and like knowing the potential extent of brain damage that's behind that. I mean, again, that were D.
Scary.
I know you're grown, but I'm still your dad. And we're going to have some real talk about maybe there's another path to stay connected to football, whether you do that through coaching, media, whatever. But like you're in your 20s, like we need you around for the next several decades. So
correct. Again,
like he grown, but I know for my son, I'd probably at this point, I would be advising him to hang it up.
Oh, really? Okay. That's and I think those are the conversations that are kind of, I'm sure the family's feeling a lot of pressure and trying to figure it out similarly. And it's just crazy because that's one aspect of it, right? That's the human side of it. As an organization, what do they do? Who's their backup? How do they prepare for something like this? Yeah, and it's tough to kind of prepare for something like this, right?
Well, but like it's no different than the real world, right? Like in like the regular like working world or corporate America, whatever you want to call it.
Normal people life.
The normal working world. It's always a thing. Like people are aware, no matter how good you are, if something happens to you, that job they're gonna post your job the next day, right?
Correct.
Maybe not the next day, but like they're gonna post that job quick, because at the end of the day, they're a business, an entity that's trying to get some work done. And if you're not there to do the work, like I always say, like if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? Like I know then my job gonna get filled quick. The wheel's just gonna keep on turning, and that's the same way it is for football, especially football. Like, it's always next man up, because of the physicality, because of the injuries. So they don't have a great plan now, but I think for sure you're gonna see them investing in a long-term plan by the draft this coming year.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a great point. So right now, who is there? Is there backup somebody that could step in and kind of keep the team going, or
it's like Skylar Thompson or something? I mean, no, but I did hear that today
no.
It wasn't a Woj bomb or a Schefter bomb. But I did hear supposedly that Cam Newton was hanging around a Miami Dolphins practice. That'd be pretty interesting. That'd be pretty interesting.
That would be.
Just let Cam throw it up and say, F it, Tyreek down there somewhere.
He'll revive it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's move on to a different conversation with some more woes, not the Woj bomb, some woe bombs that the Panthers have experienced or are feeling by benching Bryce Young. What's going on over there, bro? They're on a downward trajectory, but a steep downward trajectory. What's going on?
The Panthers are like a bomb in and of themselves that just keeps self-destructing over and over and
They're imploding.
And as a division rival, I love it. I mean, it's crazy. Like they've traded away DJ Moore. They traded away Brian Burns to the Giants, and I forget there's somebody else that traded away. But all these good star level players in their mid-20s. And then they traded up with Chicago, which meant they had to give up a whole bunch of number one picks to get Bryce Young. And they've got nothing in return for everything that they've given up. So it's just, I mean, their ownership, front office shambles. Like, I have no idea what the plan is. And to bench Bryce Young, I mean, I get it. He's not playing well, but like, he doesn't really have that much support around him in the first place. I mean, they put up 13 points in 2 games. Offensive line is terrible. He's got, a couple skill positions, but like, again, if you're not getting time, that's not going to matter. Defense is so, I mean, like, they're just a bad organization from top to bottom.
Wow. I feel like you just described the Wizards. Sorry. Let me just go ahead.
The Commanders?
Commanders. One could say another ATL basketball team, but I won't.
Well, we don't stick to football.
We'll stick to football, yeah. So let's move on now. Since we talked about this part, I want to go back to another previous format that we did last week. And because I really enjoyed having this conversation with you about biggest winner, biggest loser, and kind of seeing how that forecast your predictions and then how all that played out. So you're down to go down that route again?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's start with the best. Biggest winner of the week. Of week 2.
This hurts my heart, man.
This
hurts my heart to say what I'm about to say. Yes.
Oh man.
Because I think I got to give it to the New Orleans Saints.
Oh.
And you know how badly this hurts my heart. Oh my God. It's killing me.
Bro, are you okay?
Bruh. I mean, look.
I know you're a little under the weather, but seriously?
I am, so I apologize for any coughing. But look, if we're going to be a little bit objective on this podcast, right? Like, yes, I'm going to be a diehard Falcons fan no matter what. Like, that's not going to go away. I will not compromise my Falcons fandom. But that said, we still got to have a little bit of objectivity, right? Or else nobody's going to take it seriously. So, bruh, the Saints, I mean, week 1, it was one thing, right? Because they said, oh, okay, well, you dropped 47 points, but it was on the Panthers, right? Like, okay, that's the Panthers. They're a dumpster fire anyway. Then you get to week 2, and you're like, okay, well, now you're going into Dallas, into AT&T Stadium, like Dak, CeeDee Lamb, all the weapons they have, that Dallas defense that was great last year, that's supposed to be great this year, and they dropped 44 on them. Honestly, bro, they had like 30, was it 37? They had 21, 10, 30, 35 points at halftime. It was 35.
That's insane. That's
35-16. And so, like, honestly, they only scored 9 points in the third and the fourth. They probably could have scored more. I think that they slowed the game down. And so, like, are they for real? I think we still need a few more weeks to find out. But, like, I'll tell you what, as somebody who's in that division, they're on notice. I'm on notice, right?
You're on notice,
I'm on notice about the Saints.
You're on alert.
That was right. I mean, that was surprising to me. And so I think, like, to be 2-0 and have that big win against Dallas on the road position them. I mean, in the standings, by technicality, they're the number one team in the NFC right now. So I don't know how you can't say that they're the biggest winner of the week.
Okay. Sounds like somebody else was 2-0, but we'll get to that later as the biggest winner of the week. Let's go biggest loser. Biggest loser, Carolina?
I was about to say, can I give this to Carolina every week? Actually, I'm going to go give this to a surprising team that you're not going to expect, and that's the Baltimore Ravens.
Really? Oh, for the Raiders loss?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So they're 0-2. So it's one thing. Okay, first game of the season against the Chiefs. They raised the banners, yada, 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 whatever. Okay, fine. I can take that L. Okay? But to come back home and lose to Gardner Minshew.
Valid point.
And the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, props to the Raiders. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay them, but like that's a game. If you're Baltimore, you got to win that game, especially in the AFC that's very, very top heavy, and especially in that division with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I mean, Pittsburgh's always kind of right there in the mix, even if they don't always make the playoffs, but they're always right there. Like, I don't think they've had a losing season in like 14 years. They're always right there in the mix. You know, the Bengals are coming back, you know, somewhat healthy with Burrow, and like you got to win the games you're supposed to win. And a team coming from the other side of the country to Baltimore, you got to win that game. And they didn't. I mean, just flat out didn't do enough to get it done. And so I think, to me, they're the biggest loser of the week out of everybody.
Wow. Who would have thought that? So let's move to unexpected performances. Who had the best unexpected and the worst? I'm thinking like it's the same teams again.
No, actually, I have, for the most unexpected for me was the Vikings. The Vikings who took care of the 49ers, the vaunted 49ers. Now, everybody thought the Vikings, right? They lost Kirk Cousins, and, you know, their first round rookie is out for the season. And so now you got Sam Darnold, who is a journeyman quarterback, right? He was a former first round pick, top, 10 pick, but he's been a journeyman, right? And he's played for several teams, including the 49ers most recently. And then they come in and they get it. And this is with the 49ers. Brock Purdy threw for 300 yards. Jordan Mason, the backup for Christian, you could say, oh, but they didn't have Christian McCaffrey. The backup for Christian McCaffrey had 20 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown. So that production still got replaced. Right. So you still lose 23-17. Like that's a tough one. I mean, I think perhaps either the 49ers are not as good as we thought they were, or the Vikings are just way better than we thought they were. But I know I texted you during this game, though. Do you remember what I texted you?
No.
About Jay Jettis?
Oh, that's right. That's right. The 100-yard, almost 98 yards or whatever.
It was like 97-yard touchdown pass, and Darnold just threw it up. It was like, F it, Jay Jettis down there somewhere.
Well, he was down there somewhere. That's right, because I saw this alert come on my phone after you messaged me, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll take it." Yeah, because he's on my team.
He's on your fantasy team, right? Yeah, right. That's why I told you, because I knew, because that was like in our crazy point system. Like, right? I think he went from like 2 or 3 points to like 32.
Or it jumped up like, it jumped up quick. I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, that joke was crazy. So, I mean, the biggest surprise in a positive way, I think, for me was the Vikings.
Okay. What about the other one, the flip side?
On the flip side, that's a little bit tough because a lot of it was you'd expect it, other than some of the ones that I went through. You could also say probably maybe the Cardinals as well, because they dropped 41 on the Rams, but they were at home too. They didn't go on the road to do it. You know, Chiefs and Bengals were very close. You know, I think on the negative side, I would, you know, I'm gonna give it to the Jets right now because they just have not looked. They're just not there, and maybe it's just Russ and Aaron getting used to, you know, the help around him. But they struggled. They lost week 1, struggled immensely, and they eked it out, you know, in week 2 by a touchdown. But still, like, you think for all of the weapons that they have and this tough Jets defense, which, by the way, you got me a lot of fantasy points too. So they are a good defense. You think that you'd be able to like put a little more distance between you and the Titans. You know what I mean? The Titans aren't just, unfortunately right now they're in a transition. They're not. They're kind of like in my opinion, like a team in limbo.
Right. Okay.
Like, I don't know what their identity is right now. They're just trying to figure out even if they have a quarterback of the future in Will Levis. So, like, I think for these teams that want to be Super Bowl contenders, like the Jets, you got to be dominant against the teams you're supposed to be dominant against. You know
sorry,
what I mean?
did you just use the words Super Bowl and Jets in the same sentence?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of the consensus is that the Jets would be a Super Bowl contender with Rodgers and all the weapons he has, plus the defense. Absolutely.
Wow. I don't ever see myself saying those words together.
But if you ask D, he always, every time somebody says the words Jets, he goes, Jets stands for just end the season. So, that's my son. That is my son. He's trash talker to the core.
I love it. All right, let's move on to something that touches a little bit of what we talked about a little earlier in the episode. Something along those lines: rookie expectations. Mm-hmm. So I know we have some rookie expectations. Some rookies at the top are still not performing at the draft pick that they were selected, and some showed out. Some came on the map this week. You want to talk about some of those guys?
Man.
Right? We got Caleb and then Marvin and.
Bruh, we got to start with Marvin. So Marvin Harrison Jr., there was so much junk being talked about how in his debut, he had no production, didn't do anything, blah, 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 blah. So much so that my brother-in-law benched him in fantasy.
I saw that.
And then we were watching the game as he got those 4 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns as my brother-in-law's cursing at the TV because he's so mad. But yeah, okay, that narrative that Marvin was going to be a bust, gone. You know, he's his dad reincarnated. Shoot, he might end up being better than his dad, especially if Kyler continues to pan out or he gets into with another, Hall of Fame level quarterback. But I mean, monster dude, 4 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just closed the book on any narrative that he was trash, which I was not believing in because I watched him in Ohio State because Georgia played Ohio State and they were always real close with us in the playoffs. So I was constantly kind of keeping an eye on them. And I was like, man, this kid is going to be a freaking monster in the league.
Well, he proved it.
The other rookie that I can give props to is this is down your road now. Down your road, boy, Malik Neighbors, New York Giants.
Okay.
Another receiver, 10 catches, 127 yards and a tutty. Just balled out.
He did.
Balled out. And I had him on my bench too. 42 points on my bench. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yes, we will.
With that.
We will.
I think that's the theme. Like, rookie wide receivers are balling out because Brian Thomas Jr. for Jacksonville, he had 2 catches for 94 yards. Just crazy with it.
Right, what they can do.
Right. And, there are a few others. But, I mean, if you want to look at some of the bad,
you got to start with Caleb, right? You have to throw a touchdown.
Look, he was 23, 37, 174 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 7 sacks, which for some reason the Bears just cannot find an offensive line that blocks. Like, it was the problem with Trubisky, it was the problem with Fields, and it's a problem again. And he had a 21 QBR, a 51 passer rating. I mean, just horrible numbers. Now, he did have 5 carries for 44 yards, but that's because he was running for his freaking life. Like,
right. Tired of getting sacked. I'm tired.
He just didn't have a choice. I think he's going to be fine. But yeah, like, the problem is when you come in talking so much, like the quote where he texted the punter, right? After he got drafted and said, you're not going to have to punt that much this season. So now everybody's keeping track of every punt. You know what I mean? And you set yourself up for that by you haven't done anything, right. Don't talk. Right. That's my just
be humble.
Until you've done. If you've done something, then you can go talk. But if you haven't, don't. Especially if you're under the scrutiny of being the number 1 pick,
correct,
and being called this generational QB, and you've gone to a franchise that historically has struggled to find a good QB. Just don't talk. Let your game talk.
Correct. Exactly. Maybe he's trying to be the new Neon Dion.
I mean,
but not working out well right now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see about that. And then, the other quarterback, so Jaden Daniels got a win, and he had a so-so game. I mean, he was 23 of 29, 226. No touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 5 times, but he had a passer rating of 99, much better than the 51 that Caleb had. Plus, he had 10 carries for 44 yards. So, I mean, like, a decent day, and he did enough to beat the New York Giants, which I don't know if that says a whole lot, but
it doesn't.
It doesn't. But and then Bo Nix for the Broncos, the other guy who's starting, 246 and 2 interceptions. I mean, 6 points, terrible day. So, yeah, I think that these rookie quarterbacks that are being put in are somewhat struggling, although he's not struggling as much, but I think that's like the name of the game. And one of the reasons why I'm actually kind of happy that we got Penix, who can sit back and, learn from Kirk Cousins for a little bit and not get thrown into the fire too early. And like, if you're Caleb or Jalen, you get sacked 5 to 7 times a game, running around for your life. Like, yeah, you're learning, but you're like, your confidence is going to diminish, right? It's human nature. Like, there's no way around it.
Right.
And I'd rather have a guy who can get some of those mental reps, get the practice reps, and then come in with a better situation. It's my opinion.
All right. Well, one can hope for. Let's get to. I think this is going to be your favorite segment of this whole thing.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
And I technically was going to put him in a different segment, but I knew you want to put him in it because my segment for this was the unexpected performance.
No. Yeah, Dirty Bird. Yeah.
But we're going to put them in the RBA player/moment/team, whatever, for that segment. Who is your RBA, I guess, team or moment of this?
Come on, man.
I already know what you're going for.
Look, you should already know who I'm going for.
Because we were getting back on some text messages that day.
Look, my Atlanta Falcons in the fourth quarter, they had I think it was a 0.8%, 0.7% chance of winning with like a minute. I'm trying to click on it. Yeah. I mean, we had like a 0.72% chance of winning. And then Saquon Barkley fumbled that pass. It was there. Like, everybody talking and debating about the play call. Like, you should have run the ball, take the 40 seconds off. And at first I was like, oh, that was dumb. But then also I realized, like, that play was there. And if he had caught that, game over. It was done. If they had run it, they would have taken 40 seconds off, but then we still would have had a little bit of time. But if he caught that ball, that's game over. Risk reward, right? That's all football is, right? You make decisions based on risk reward. And so I'm not mad or think that Sirianni did a bad job with that. But my goodness, like, I was just sitting there, my buddy's texting me stuff, like, not you, but my college roommate. He texted me stuff, and when they were losing, and I'm like, man, we're about to be 0-2, have to play the Chiefs next week on Sunday Night Football. Like, and I always knew that 0-3 to start the season could be a reality, right? But that's a tough thing. Like, I don't know that there's ever been a team to make the Super Bowl that started 0-3, much less the playoffs. I mean, it barely happens. So knowing that that's like a potential reality was like, it was killing me, especially as they were driving that final drive. And I'm just mentally like,
I've seen this movie before.
like not even this movie, because it wasn't like we were up big and then we lost it, right? Like we were just there, but not quite there. And then we just let them pick up first downs, drain the clock, it's over. And then that play happens, Saquon drops it, and I perked up. I was like, oh, but because I'm a scarred Falcons fan, because I have PTSD. I have Falcons related trauma. Okay, I love my team, but they have given me trauma over the past 6-7 years.
They have,
and so
I witnessed.
I was like, okay, so we're going to get the ball back, and we have no timeouts, and we're going to drive the ball down, and we got to score a touchdown to tie the game and get an extra point to win the game. Like, even if we get down there, I've even seen it too. Like, we played the Eagles in the year after the Super Bowl. People forget. People think we fell off after the Super Bowl. The year after the Super Bowl, we went up to Philly in the divisional, and it came down to the last play, and we were right 10 yards from the end zone. Julio caught the ball, and it got batted out of his hands. Like, that could have altered things back then. That was 2017. I'm like, man, are we really going to drive down the field? Like, I want to see it happen, but like, I'm a Falcons fan, right? So
he's real. He's real about it.
I got to be transparent, okay? But I'm hoping for it, right? And then, bro, I watch a lot of football, right? I watch a lot of football every year, every week, 7 hours commercial for I watch a lot of football. It's like I was hard pressed to find another drive that was like boom, 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 boom. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden they like the other team just scored. Like I've seen Mahomes do it a lot and get in field goal range. There was the whole back and forth in the playoffs with Mahomes and Josh Allen where they scored quickly. But like this was just, I don't know, it was different because the Eagles, the crowd was so loud and ruckus and they were celebrating Nick Foles and Jason Kelsey was there and he was on the broadcast. And even Scott Van Pelt, when they were coming back after the 2-minute warning, he said, we're going to go inside the winning team locker room, which is looking like it's going to be the Eagles. Like it wasn't ESPN, it was Eagles SPN on Monday night. Like, and so I'm just like, everything is stacked against us. There's no way. And then all of a sudden he completes to Kyle Pitts. Okay, that's cute. 8-9 yards, whatever. They come, they don't blink. They just come straight up to the line, get set, don't spike it, right? They don't have to re-huddle up and call another play. Just come up to the line calmly. All right. Next play, Darnell Mooney, boom, he goes down. Calmly walk up to the line. They don't spike it. Darnell Mooney again, boom, he goes out of bounds. Next play, come up to the line, calmly, set Drake London, 5 yards. So I'm like, oh, all of a sudden we're at the 10-yard line. And I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, holy shit. Number one, we might actually really do this. And number two, now I'm like, are we going to do this too fast? So, and then next play, incomplete in the end zone, which questionable whether it should have been an interference or not, but that's fine. Next play, we come up, boom. And I don't know if you saw the route. I think you would have appreciated this. Did you see the route from Drake London?
No.
Dude, you got to go back and watch it, bro. You got to watch the highlights. Because he hit him, Drake London used to play basketball. He was a basketball player with USC too. And he hit Darius Slay, who's one of the top corners in the NFL. He hit him with the boom, boom crossover, with an imaginary ball. Separation for you got to go back and watch it. But just boom, boom, hit him with it and went. And even when he caught it, Drake caught it and he went like this. Like he put his hands on his head. Like, did that just happen? Because it was just surreal. It was surreal, like anything I've seen. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, well, shit, there's like 38 seconds left, 40 seconds. Plus the Eagles have timeouts. So I'm like, now we just scored too quickly because I've seen this story before. Like I've seen this story before. So now I go immediately from being ecstatic and hyped to nervous because they get the ball, they complete the first pass, call timeout immediately, and they're like, and it was like a good, probably 18-yard pass or something like that. So now they're like 15-ish yards from field goal range with another timeout. I'm like, here we go. They're going to take the game-winning field goal, and we're going to lose 24-22. Like, I've seen this story all the time. And what's crazy, I told my son this because, he's a diehard, but he couldn't stay up to watch the game because he's been sick and he needed to get rest before going. I thought he was going to be going back to school that day. But anyway, so he didn't get to stay up. But I told him, I was like, I swear on their lives, right before the next play, I said, man, we just need Jesse or Justin. That's our two safeties. Like, we just need Jesse or Justin to do something here. Something, please. They hike the ball. Jesse Bates gets the pick. Game over. And I was like, let's go. I couldn't be loud because the kids were sleeping, but I was like, my earpods were falling out. I was so hyped. And like, for me, it was cathartic because my guy's laughing. I'm Mr. Okadan. I ain't trying to be vulnerable. I ain't trying to be vulnerable with you. I thought this was a safe space. I thought this was a safe space. Okay.
Yes. How do you feel?
It was cathartic for me because I have been on the other side of that so many times.
You have.
It was like 5 times in one season that we got there, and then boom, somebody just stole it from us at the end.
Right.
to go from a 0.7% chance and to just score the way that we were, the way that we did. Like, I think that I kept hearing analysts say it was like a hot knife through butter, like the way that Kirk just carved them up on that last drive. It was like, it almost felt like an exorcism. Like, bro, I'm not. Oh my god, I'm serious though. Like it almost felt like an exorcism of all the demons of Falcons past.
Yes,
and I'm hopeful for a new day, because I will say, beyond that being the RBA performance, like just having the wherewithal to come through in the clutch the way they did on offense and defense, right? Because both of them had to happen to win.
Right.
Our defense has only given up 2 touchdowns in 2 games. And so, I really do think we got a strong team. Whether I'm a homer or not, we got one of the better offensive lines. We got a defense that is playing extremely well already, and an offense that's starting to put it together. But with the weapons that we have, like, it's going to be a fun season. But I'm hoping that this moment, like, I've heard that, like, this is the moment that saved our season already. Like, I've heard that from, I think it was Rich Eisen talked about it, and some other media people. This was like a turning, like, it's crazy in week 2 to say you have a turning point of your season, but having that going into the next game, knowing that you're 1-1 versus going in 0-2 against the Chiefs with no momentum, it's a different story, right? It's a completely different story.
You feel better now? Got it all out.
I'm only going to, you know how I'm only going to feel better? I'm going to feel completely better if the story that I read on Twitter was true. And the story that I read on Twitter a few hours ago was that supposedly Kirk Cousins was renting out Magic City for his teammates tonight. All I got to say. So they're going in for the hot lemon pepper Lou Will wings. Okay?
That's right. The wings.
Like, they're going to have the whole buffet.
Kurt Gold, he gonna be out there with his chains doing the gritty.
Like that's quite a team building event right there.
That is a team building event.
But no, I mean, like, you know, like, all jokes aside, I'm trying to be funny and whatnot, but, like, all jokes aside, it was definitely nice to be on the other side of it for once. And I'm hopeful they can ride that momentum through the rest of the season.
Right. When we were going random messaging back and forth in that group chat we have, the fantasy group chat, and your last message was, like, I think it was, oh my God, this is the most unexpected Falcons ending ever.
Right.
Because that's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. And I was very happy that you actually got to feel what winning feels like in that moment, because you've been on the other side so many times, like you said. So I was happy for you. I was very happy for you.
I appreciate that, my man.
But at the same time, though, I was thinking, I really hope this doesn't put a false, like, hope in him that this is our season, the Dallas Cowboys style of, thinking. But
oh yeah, no, we're going straight to the Super Bowl, bro. Let's go.
That's it. Okay, so
rise up.
So I think that was a segment I think is part of the fake world, and now we're going to move to the fake world. Let's move. So you moved from the real world to the virtual world, the fake world.
See, this I don't want to talk about this.
No, we should talk about this. This is our fantasy league, our low expectations fantasy league, right? Keyword low expectations. So. And with our new revamped point system that our commissioner right here in front of you, Chico, has designed, which gives people apparently 20 plus points when Justin Jefferson runs down the field for a touchdown.
Well, so you get extra points for 40 plus yard completions, and if you get a 40-yard touchdown. So if you get a 40-yard touchdown, you get to double dip, right? You get the points for the 40-yard completion, and you get the points for the 40-yard touchdown. So, like, you can just one big play can completely change your narrative. But also, too, there's ways to lose points as well. So
right. That would have been nice had he stopped at 40 yards and then done it again, because he got a 90-yard plus, right? So I could have, like, double dip, quadruple dip.
Yeah.
In essence.
Well, it didn't. Can we just say that it didn't matter because you easily won your game?
I did. Thankfully. I wasn't projected to win against, but I think that was the game of the week because my God, this is your sister, right? She is, her squad is pretty stacked.
Yeah, but she has some injuries though, because she has
Christian McCaffrey
out. Yeah, and
I don't think it would have mattered.
Quarterback
May not have mattered because some people, like my boy A-Chain, balled, out.
He did. I mean, but I don't think that was the game of the week. He won by almost 50 points.
Did I?
Yeah, it was 255 to 209.
I thought it was closer than that.
No, he won by like 245.
Oh,
I mean, by 45 points.
Now,
the game of the week was, again, me. So you won 255, 209. Your team, you had Jalen Hurts had 37 points. You had Metcalf, who put up 35. You had
Justin
A-Chain had 47.
Yeah, A-Chain was the one. He set the tone that week.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I'm only shouting out those that were over 30 because in the 20s is kind of like normal, especially for our point system. And then our boys went at it head to head.
They did.
And they were projected, but Dylan, aka non-rapper Drake, he's non-rapper Drake because he's got a picture of Drake London, right? So he's not the rapper Drake. He's the wide receiver Drake. Yeah, he won by almost 40. Yeah,
that's like you and your brother-in-law were very.
We were in the game of the week. I've been in the game of the week 2 weeks in a row.
That's right, you have been.
Yeah. So with non-rapper Drake, he had Debo Samuel had 30, Zay Flowers had 30, Devontae Adams had 36. And then he's had a bunch of other solid performances. For Tage, the only thing he had going was James Cook had 40, but other than that, the rest of his team.
Tyreek didn't show up.
Well, it wasn't that he didn't show up. So I had the same problem, right? Tua went down early.
That's right.
Yeah, so in mine I was projected to win, but Tua only gave me 7 points.
That's right.
Because then he went down and out. So and then Lamar only has 17. He let me down.
Yeah.
And so this is crazy because I had Amon-Ra St. Brown with 30, almost 38, Breece Hall with 32, Jonathan Taylor with 30, Kittle almost had 30. I had the Jets defense give me 21.
That's crazy.
And I left 42 points on the bench with Neighbors. But do you know why I lost?
Why is that?
So he had Kyler Murray with 39.
Oh, he balled out.
He had James Conner with 38. And can you imagine if he had the 37 from Harrison that's on his bench
Marvin?
too?
Oh, my God.
But he got 34 from J.K. Dobbins. But this is the worst. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Bruh.
62, bro.
62.
That's insane.
Points. This dude went straight off. He had 20 rush attempts, 115 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 catches for 65 yards, a receiving touchdown, 1 receiving first down, which we get points for, and 8 rushing first downs, which we also get points for first downs too. I mean, my goodness, I killed myself with that one. I mean, I thought there was a chance, right? And I did have a chance if Stephon Diggs had done something, but the problem is Diggs only got 9 points. He had a quiet game. And then Cooper Kupp went out early. He got hurt. And so now I'm in the boat. I have A.J. Brown out injured, Kenneth Walker out injured, Tua out injured, Cooper Kupp is now out injured. Like, I'm just like, my guys are dropping left and right. Crazy. So
it's funny
twice.
It is twice. What's funny is when we were going through our draft picks, I had two guys I wanted to pick up, and the second I went to go pick them up, the person before me picked them, which is crazy. And those two, the 2 guys were Saquon. Tage picked him up, and then my next guy was like, I'm gonna go get Alvin Kamara, and then he picked him up. I was like, come on, man,
killer. So yeah, last week I was in a very, very tight game and lost by 8. That was the closest game. And then this week it was 17-point loss, which is still the closest game. But again.
Well, all I know is that there's only one undefeated person left in the league, and I'm gonna let him do his thing.
Well, guess what? That all comes to an end this week.
Does it?
Because them big bickies goes up against To Infinity and Bijan.
Hey. Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Right. You're projected to beat me, but as you know, that means nothing.
Oh, that means nothing.
I'm excited to see what happens this week. But yeah, you and me go up head to head.
Yes, sir.
And probably what will be in another game of the week. Because I'm just going to be in these dog fights all freaking season. Because that's just
you're the virtual Falcons.
I hate fantasy football, and I love it, but I hate it.
No, it's fun,
anyway,
man. It's fun.
Enough on that topic. I'm done with fantasy. I'm just mad, man. I'm getting mad all over again.
Hey, you know what? You might be staying mad this next week too, but who knows? We'll see, right? But with that, anything else you want to add to week 2? Exciting week. Anything? What are you looking forward to
for week 3?
Yeah,
Falcons Chiefs, bro. Come on now, what? Sunday night football? What do they say? To be the best, you got to beat the best. No, like if there was any statement to be made by the Falcons, it is this Sunday night.
Well, it's either gonna be that statement, or it's gonna come all crashing down back to the narrative, the normal routine. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I just don't want you to get too high hopes on it,
bro. Look, I'm a ride or die for my team, so I'm a ride with my team till the wheels fall off.
Okay.
And if this is the week to go make a statement. You know what our coach said when everybody was celebrating in the locker room, right? And he put his hand up to have the little post game speech. He said something. I'm gonna paraphrase something along those lines of like, "This is all good, this is great, but who's effing next?" And I love that mentality.
I love that. That's nice.
Effing next. Like, okay, yeah, this is cute. Who's next?
Correct.
Let's go. Like, oh, that made me want to run through a wall.
That's it. Bring that energy next week.
But honestly, I mean, if you want to talk about other games that might be good, Ravens, Cowboys, like, let's see who's real and who's not. The Eagles, Saints, right? Like, that's gonna be that's gonna be an interesting game to see whether they, again, who's real and who's not. Right? Surprisingly, Lions Cardinals might actually be a good game. Like, you wouldn't normally traditionally think of that. Right? Yeah, both teams, like the Cardinals are balling right now.
Okay.
And then the Lions are good. So those are a few: Chiefs, Falcons, Lions, Cardinals, Ravens, Cowboys.
I'm just having a hard time with
Saints.
Lions and good coming. Like, it's just been so long.
I know. They are.
They are. Yeah, they are in mid.
We gotta give them their flowers, man. Dan Campbell.
Maybe we should. Absolutely.
Has them biting at the kneecaps.
That's right. Working. Bite some more kneecaps.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. So next week we'll do a recap. See what really happens. Is somebody real? Is somebody not? Is the Falcons frenzy? Is that a fallacy, or is that for real?
We might have to get on Sunday night and record, because I might be so hype after the game. Like, we're just gonna have to get on and record.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, then. Till next time, remember to subscribe at Think RBA. Your boy OK Chico. We out. Peace.